When you open your eyes in the morning, before the world has the chance to speak to you, before messages flood your phone, before responsibilities knock on your door, there is a small window of silence. In that silence, the very first voice you hear is not from the outside world, it is from within you. That voice is the one that will either give you wings or quietly weigh you down. Many people wake up and the first thing they do is remember yesterday's failures, or think about what they have to do today with a sense of burden. That quiet self-talk, often unnoticed, becomes the blueprint for the day. If you wake up and tell yourself, "I'm tired. I can't handle this. Today is going to be hard," your body listens, your emotions listen, your energy listens. They obey the instructions your mind gives them. You have already written the script before the day has even begun. But if, in those first moments, you choose a different conversation, everything changes. If you tell yourself, "This is a new day, a fresh start, a chance to rise a little higher," your mind begins to search for proof of those words. Your attention starts looking for reasons to match the reality you have declared. The way you speak to yourself is not just talk. It is a command to your subconscious. And your subconscious does not question you. It acts upon what you say, as if it were truth. This is why your first conversation each morning is sacred. It is the most powerful conversation of the day because it sets the frequency you will vibrate on for the next hours. Imagine a musician tuning their instrument before a concert. If the strings are tightened with care, the music will flow beautifully. But if they are out of tune, no matter how skillfully the musician plays, the song will carry a discordant tone. Your self-talk is your tuning. The quality of that first conversation will echo in every meeting you have, every decision you make, and every challenge you face. Even science confirms this. Our thoughts trigger chemical responses in the brain that directly affect our mood, energy, and behavior. If you start the day with uplifting words, you trigger dopamine, serotonin, other chemicals that boost motivation and focus. If you start with criticism or fear, you trigger stress hormones like cortisol that make you reactive and anxious. You may not be able to control everything that will happen in your day, but you can control the opening line. And the opening line matters because it writes the tone for the entire chapter. So the question is not just what time will you wake up tomorrow? The real question is, what will you say to yourself when you do? The answer to that question is the difference between surviving your day and shaping it. Every word you speak to yourself is like a seed you place into the soil of your mind. Some seeds are small and fragile, carrying promises of beauty and strength. Others are heavy with the weight of doubt, fear, and limitation. The soil does not decide which seeds to accept. It accepts them all. Your subconscious is like that. It does not filter truth from falsehood, possibility from impossibility. It simply takes what you plant and begins to grow it. The words you repeat, the phrases you allow to live in your mind, these are the seeds that will either feed your growth or choke it. If you keep telling yourself, "I'm not good enough," you are planting weeds. Weeds grow quickly, they do not need much care, and they spread until they block the sunlight from everything else. But if you say, "I am learning, I am capable, I am moving forward," you are planting flowers and strong trees. These need water and patience, but in time, they change the entire landscape of your life. People often underestimate the power of repetition. You may think a single negative thought does not matter, but repeat it over days, weeks, and months. It creates roots so deep that pulling them out becomes a struggle. The same is true for positive words. At first, they might feel strange, almost unnatural. But if you nurture them daily, they will take root and grow into something unshakable. The magic of 21 days is that it gives these seeds a chance to sprout. Imagine you decide for 21 days to consciously plant only empowering words. Every morning, you tell yourself something that lifts you. Every evening, before sleep, you remind yourself of one good thing you did that day. Slowly, without forcing it, your mind begins to search for more proof of these words. You notice opportunities where before you saw obstacles. You feel calmer. In situations where you used to feel small, it is not the world that has changed, it is the garden you are carrying inside you. But remember, a garden cannot be left unattended. If you plant good seeds but also let weeds grow, they will compete for space. This is why awareness matters. Catch yourself when you speak words of doubt. Do not water them with more attention. Replace them instantly with something better. This is not pretending life is perfect. It is choosing which seeds you will allow to grow, even in the middle of imperfection. Over time, the harvest of your words becomes undeniable. People may ask why you seem more confident, why you look lighter, why you walk differently. They will not see the 21 days of careful planting, but you will know. You will know that the change did not come from luck or from someone else's approval. It came from the seeds you planted in the quiet conversations you had with yourself. Most people speak to themselves in ways they would never speak to someone they love. When they make a mistake, the words in their mind are sharp and unforgiving. They focus on what they are not, what they lack, and where they fall short. Judgment becomes their default inner language. The problem is, judgment freezes growth. When you constantly tell yourself, you failed again, you're not good enough, you'll never get it right, you are not motivating yourself, you are building a prison around your potential. Inside that prison, every new opportunity feels like a threat. Every challenge feels heavier than it really is, and every small setback feels like proof that you are incapable. But imagine changing that language. Imagine that, instead of judgment, you offered yourself empowerment. When you make a mistake, you say, "This is part of learning." You are still capable. You are still moving forward. This is not ignoring reality. It is giving yourself the strength to face reality with more courage. The truth is, empowerment is not blind optimism. It is a choice to focus on what will help you grow rather than what will keep you small. Think of a child learning to walk. They fall again and again, but no loving parent stands over them saying, "You're hopeless, you'll never walk." Instead, they say, "Come on, you can do it. Try again. You're getting closer." That encouragement is what gives the child the courage to keep trying until walking becomes natural. You are no different. The way you speak to yourself determines whether you give up after falling or rise to take another step. For 21 days, if you commit to replacing judgment with empowerment, you will notice something extraordinary. Your energy will shift. Instead of spending your mental strength defending yourself against your own criticism, you will use that strength to actually improve. You will take more chances because you will no longer be afraid of your own reaction if things don't go perfectly. This is why people who speak to themselves with empowerment often achieve more, not because they never fail, but because they never allow failure to define them. Your mind is always listening. Every judgment you speak to yourself is recorded and remembered, just as every empowering word is recorded and remembered. Over time, those recordings become the voice you believe without question. So choose carefully which one you feed. When the habit of empowerment replaces the habit of judgment, you will notice that you not only feel lighter within yourself, but you also treat others with more kindness and understanding. The way you speak to yourself becomes the way you speak to the world. And when the world hears a voice of empowerment coming from you, it responds with trust, openness, and respect. That is the quiet, steady magic of changing your inner language. Transformation does not happen in a single burst of motivation. It is not the result of one powerful day of positive thinking or one inspiring moment that suddenly changes everything. Transformation is built in the quiet repetition of small choices made again and again. This is why 21 days matters. It is long enough for your mind to begin forming new patterns, and short enough for you to commit without feeling overwhelmed. Every day that you repeat a thought, a word, or a habit, you are carving a path in your sath. You are carving a path in your mind. At first, that path is faint, overgrown with the old patterns you've walked for years. But with each step, each repetition, it becomes clearer, smoother, easier to follow. Consistency is the hand that shapes who you become. Without it, even the most inspiring ideas fade into nothing. Think about water dripping on stone. A single drop does nothing but drop after drop. Day after day, it can carve through solid rock. Your self-talk works the same way. If you speak to yourself with strength and encouragement once, it feels good for a moment. But if you do it every day for 21 days, your mind starts to accept it as truth. After 21 days, you will notice you no longer have to force the empowering words. They will come to you naturally. This is the mind rewiring itself. Here's the truth most people overlook. Consistency is more powerful than intensity. You don't need to spend hours on affirmations or fill a journal with endless pages every day. What matters is that you show up for yourself every single day, even for just a few minutes, with the right words and the right energy. Your subconscious mind thrives on repetition, not occasional enthusiasm. But consistency requires patience. And patience is where many people give up. The first few days may feel exciting, but somewhere in the middle, when results are not yet visible, doubt creeps in. That is the moment to remember that change is happening beneath the surface. Just as seeds grow roots before they break through the soil, your new self-talk is building unseen strength before it shows itself in your actions and emotions. If you stop too early, you never see the bloom. But if you keep going, day after day, the change will not just be visible, it will feel permanent. Consistency is not about perfection. Missing one day does not destroy the path you've built, but giving up entirely allows the old overgrowth to take it back. The goal is simply to return, again and again, to the habit of speaking to yourself in the way you have chosen. That's the quiet discipline that creates transformation, not overnight, not by magic, but by the steady, deliberate shaping of your inner world until the person you wanted to become is simply the person you are. The way you speak to yourself is not just an inner experience. It spills quietly into every corner of your outer life. You may think your self-talk is private, invisible to the world, but it is not. It shows in the way you walk into a room, in the way you make eye contact, in the way you speak to others, and in the choices you make when no one is watching. If your inner voice is filled with doubt, hesitation, and fear, it will shape your actions to match that tone. You will hesitate to take opportunities because the voice inside has already told you they are beyond your reach. You will avoid challenges because that inner voice has convinced you that you are not ready. On the other hand, when your inner voice is steady, encouraging, and clear, it changes the way you carry yourself. You step into situations with quiet confidence, not because you are certain of the outcome, but because you are certain of your ability to adapt and grow. People feel that energy, even if they cannot explain it. It is the reason some people naturally draw trust and respect from others. Their inner dialogue is aligned with their outer actions. The world responds to the signals you send, and those signals are born inside your mind. For 21 days, if you choose to feed your mind with words that empower you, your outer reality will begin to shift in ways you may not expect. You will notice conversations going differently, opportunities appearing where before there seemed to be none, and people reacting to you with more openness. This is not magic in the sense of something mystical. It is the natural consequence of carrying a different energy into the world. Think of your inner voice like a lens over your eyes. The lens is scratched and cloudy with negativity. Everything you see will appear distorted. Even good situations will look threatening. But if the lens is clear, polished with words of belief and encouragement, you will see possibilities you could not see before. And when you see them, you will act on them. Your outer life is a reflection of the stories you tell yourself daily. Change the story, and you change the reflection. But the change must begin inside. There is no shortcut. People try to rearrange their outer world without touching the inner one, but it never lasts. The old inner voice pulls them back, and soon they find themselves in the same place as before. If you want a lasting shift, start with the conversation that happens when no one else can hear you. That conversation is the architect of your future. Speak to yourself as the person you want to be, not as the person you fear you are. Let that voice become so strong, so constant, that your outer reality has no choice but to adjust to match it. Every person carries an inner voice that never leaves them. It is there in the quiet moments before sleep, in the split seconds before making a decision, in the reflections after a conversation. For many, that voice takes the role of a harsh critic, pointing out every flaw, replaying every mistake, predicting every failure before it even happens. The critic believes it is protecting you from disappointment, but in truth, it traps you in hesitation. It is like having a companion who whispers doubt into your ear at every step, making the path ahead feel heavier than it is. Now imagine replacing that critic with a mentor. Not the kind who tells you everything will be easy, but the kind who reminds you of your strength when things get hard. A mentor sees your potential even when you cannot, and speaks to that potential until you begin to believe in it yourself. What if that mentor could live inside you? What if, for the next 21 days, you decided that every time your inner critic spoke, you would respond as your own guide, calm, clear, and encouraging? This is not about ignoring your weaknesses. A true mentor helps you face them without shame. When you make a mistake, the critic says, "You're hopeless." The mentor says, "This was a step in the process." Here's how we move forward. When you feel unprepared, the critic says, "Don't try, you'll fail." The mentor says, "You may not know everything yet, but you are capable of learning." This shift in tone changes everything because it replaces paralysis with possibility. Being your own mentor means you stop waiting for someone else to believe in you first. You stop needing external validation before you act. You become the source of your own courage. And courage, once practiced daily, becomes part of who you are. Over time, the mentor's voice grows louder and the critic's voice begins to fade. This does not happen overnight, but 21 days of conscious practice is enough to feel the difference. You will start to notice that the moment you face doubt, your mind offers you guidance instead of condemnation. The fear that used to freeze you will begin to loosen its grip. And here's something remarkable. When you treat yourself as a mentor would, you naturally start to treat others the same way. Your words become more uplifting, your patience deeper, your presence calmer. People will feel more at ease around you, and many will not realize why. It is because the kindness you have built within yourself begins to radiate outward. The journey of replacing your inner critic with your inner mentor is not just about feeling better. It is about becoming someone who can walk through challenges with resilience and self-respect. And that kind of person does not just survive life, they shape it, guide it, and lead it from within for 21 days. You have the chance to become your own greatest ally, not through grand gestures or impossible promises, but through the quiet, consistent choice to speak to yourself with the words that build rather than break. We began by understanding that the first conversation you have each day is with yourself, and that it sets the tone for everything that follows. We learned that words are seeds, and that the ones you plant daily will grow into the reality you live. We replaced judgment with empowerment, knowing that mistakes are not walls, but stepping stones. We committed to consistency, because transformation is born from repetition, not chance. We accepted that our inner voice shapes our outer reality, and that if we want to change what's outside, we must first change what's inside. And finally, We chose to become our own mentor, the one voice that will never abandon us, even when the world feels distant. These 21 days are not just a challenge. They are an invitation to discover what happens when your self-talk is no longer your cage, but your wings. If you follow this path with sincerity, you will notice changes that feel almost invisible at first. A little more courage here, a little more clarity there. But then, one day, you will face a moment that once would have defeated you, and you will realize that you are standing taller, thinking clearer, and moving forward with a strength that feels natural. That is when you will understand that the magic has already happened. So tomorrow, when you open your eyes, remember this: the voice you choose to listen to will guide you through your day. Make sure it is a voice that believes in you, speaks to your highest self, and refuses to let you forget who you can become. For the next 21 days and beyond, let that voice lead you and watch how the world quietly begins to follow.